Here with my buddy Gerrit Elzinga.
That's me.
Comedian out of Grand Rapids. We are here at Smokestack Brew in Mishawaka. I'm going to say Diet South Bend.
I like that.
Because that just makes it sound like our careers are doing a little bit better.
Yes.
Than what the reality is.
Perfect. I mean, I am opening for you, so yours is doing better than mine. That's for sure.
Dude, I met you. First off, you got a brand new album out called the
Bullet Biter,
the emcee session.
Perfect. Yes.
You did. Tell people this. Friends of mine have heard this, and I have not. I'm not going to pretend like I'm Oprah and say, "Hey, I heard your stuff. It sounded fantastic."
Okay.
I've seen you enough times. I know you're hilarious.
Okay.
But you actually strung together. You recorded 3 years of MC spots.
I did. So I'm the house MC at Dr. Grin's Comedy Club in Grand Rapids, and I strung together about 3.5 years of sets. So MC sets are basically 10 minutes at a time. I piece them all together, and then the best and the worst of all the stuff. So that it's basically, to listen to it, it seems like one seamless show. So I don't want people to know when one show starts and another show ends.
Right.
I want it to all seem like one thing.
Well, I heard you did a great. I heard you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
I heard that the actual album itself, worked out fantastic.
Yeah. We do have a fan here. I don't know if they want to. Oh, she's gone. Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. I really appreciate that. I mean, all the word has been very positive, and it's a lot of the things that people say are that it's never been done before.
Well, that's the thing, because people don't realize that hosting a show is one of the most difficult spots, because you're going up. People say, "Oh, well, you're just going up first." It's like, well, yeah, but you're going up ice cold. The audience is like, they're still sitting down. They haven't gotten their drinks yet. They're still ordering stuff. They're still taking their jackets off in some cases.
Yeah,
and
so that happens too. There's one part on the album where there's a bachelorette party that's like filing in while I'm on stage, and
those aren't annoying at all.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting how a lot of people. Can we swear on here?
Yeah. A
lot of people shit on bachelorette parties, but it's any party, really. And
anytime you have a group of people, there's the potential. It's like that mob mentality.
Yes. 100%.
They can be great.
Corporate parties, too.
Or they can completely suck. Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a couple instances on there where, like, birthday parties are the worst. So
right.
That's the thing that's the most annoying. But it's this nice thing because there's structure, and then it's me trying to be like, okay, that's it, and then other people are piping up. So it's like, all right, well, we have to address you as well. So it's an hour and 16 minutes. It's a long album.
And that's cool. Good for you, man.
I'm very proud of it.
I'm very happy for you, man. That's fantastic.
It's all MC. The first part is MC, and then the second part is me trying to tell jokes. So.
Now, you've been at it since you were in high school.
Yep.
And you and I met a long time ago when I had taught a comedy business class.
Yes.
And I'm not saying this to kiss your ass, but I mean, you can tell when I've done these classes, you can tell talking to people and seeing what they do. By the way, Garrett's just having water.
Yeah.
I'm drinking some very fancy schmancy stout beer that they put in this kind of glass because
just good old well water.
Just agua. But you can tell people, when I was doing that class, you just teaching people like just the business of how the intricacies of this business work.
That's why I took the class. I didn't want to take a comedy class.
No.
I wanted to take a business to get to the next step.
Well, and you can tell certain people that get it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where they're asking questions and they understand. You can see them paying attention. There was like you and maybe 3 other people in the class.
I know Stu was in that class,
Stu was in there. Andy Beningo,
Yep.
who was a comic out of the Detroit area, who was in the class, and he's doing very, very well. He's kicking ass. And so, I mean, you really, really had a grasp of what's going on. But you've been doing this since high school.
Yeah.
You were in high school.
I was in high school.
When you took the class.
Yeah. I think it was, how old was I? I think it was 16. I was 16 or 17 when I took your class, yeah.
That's insane.
I know.
That is so cool. But the cool thing is with you,
I'm 20 now.
And he's got a huge penis for a 20-year-old.
It's pretty great.
It's impressive. He had a gross spurt.
I duct tape it to my leg.
And you should.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But you also, what I like about hanging out with you is that we can talk about other stuff besides comedy.
100%.
Because to me, one of the things that annoys me the most about some comedians, not all, is if they just talk about comedy.
Yeah, I think when you know something like, the first time that you meet somebody and you only have comedy in common, it makes sense that that's all you're talking about. But we've known each other for so long that I think we're able to talk about movies and other stuff like that.
Right. But there's still guys that you meet in the business where that's all they talk about.
Yeah.
It's constantly, who's booking this, who's doing this, who's doing that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have other interests, which is great. And one of yours is music.
Yeah.
You play music.
I do.
What do you play?
I play guitar, drums. I can play bass. I can play piano, and everything I've just taught myself basically. So my uncle taught me some drums, and then that helps with rhythm. And then so I've been playing music for a long time. I haven't in a while. I'd like to get back into it, but
Has there been any interest of trying to incorporate that into your comedy?
That's what everyone says, and no, not really. I just don't have an interest in doing it because I feel like my biggest influence music comedy wise was Stephen Lynch. Do you know him?
Right. Yep.
And all of the songs, I'm so pedestrian in that. So all the songs would just be a reflection of his.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, hey, I'm gonna be this character that has herpes, or I'm gonna be this character that's an old guy. Like that's all that it would be.
Right.
I just had no interest in doing it. A bigger influence comedy-wise for me is Bill Hicks, and lately I've been really wanting to work on observational/political.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's at the times we're at right now, and I'd like to start working on that, and I think that, that's the next thing I really want to do.
Well, and you got to toe the line with that stuff, too. I mean, you got to really kind of play both sides of it, so that you're not pissing people off. You don't want to alienate a big chunk of your audience because that just pisses off a booker and it pisses off the audience, and you're like, all right, I'm not going anywhere with this.
100%. And that's the thing too is there's jokes I have that aren't political that still piss people off, and so I like to build what these.
Most of your act pisses people.
Yes. I like to build these things that I call safety nets.
Right.
So if the joke doesn't go well, or if I'm pissing somebody off, I can say this one little nugget and then spin them so they're back on my side. And that I'm going to have to do that a lot with the things that.
Well, I think what's cool is that you've been able to, as a house MC for a long time at Dr. Grin's, a club I love going to. I always love seeing you over there, and but it's just fun. I mean, it's it's a fun club. It's great that familiarity of people that are there, and.
Also very easy to offend, which you hear on the album. If you
because Grand Rapids is a fairly conservative market, and so now what did you learn from that in terms of how to adjust your comedy because you've got a very I don't care attitude. Yeah. It's not like you don't go up there with the oh my god. You can tell when people are afraid to say certain things, and you don't have that attitude.
Yeah, well, it's all a honed thing. So I think from that, so Grand Rapids is conservative, which it sucks because the city itself isn't. It's everybody else that comes from outside of the city into the city, and they infect it like a virus. So you'll have the Thursday, which is the college kids. They're very open-minded. You'll have the Friday early show, which is a bunch of uptighty whiteys, as I like to refer to them. And then the late show Friday is similar to the Thursday. They're just drunker. And then Saturday, every show is going to be fun. Right?
See, but you know what though?
So
for me,
you have a different thing each one.
See, I would rather do a show in a city like Oklahoma City, which is it's a very red state. Oklahoma is, but they don't care. You can say
I want that.
Whatever you want. It's not that when you say open-minded in terms of college kids, they're open-minded as long as you say stuff that makes them happy.
Yeah, that is a good point.
So it's actually good. It's actually good for you. It's good and it's good and bad because it teaches you certain things. They're like, hey, I can go this far, and I need to pull it back.
Yeah.
Well, because you can do certain things. You can't make certain religious jokes in Grand Rapids because of the Dutch influence, the Dutch conservative aspect from a religious perspective.
My family is like that too, and that's what I was going to say about those shows is because I do a lot of religious stuff in my act too. I have a big 10-minute long religion chunk, and it was mostly honed there because you have to have these, like I said earlier, the safety nets. So you build this line, well, they don't like that line, so I'll say this and get them back. So that's one of the things that I've learned from that is having those backups. And it's really a weird way to try and do what you want to do, because I don't want to fold under the pressure or back off
Right.
of what I want to do as a stand-up. So
Now, are you?
it shaped me.
Well, now you're in a relationship now. You've been in a relationship for a while, and the girl that you are with, and I met her a number of times.
Jackie.
Sweetheart, comedian.
Yeah.
How is that in terms of a relationship?
Oh, it's terrible. No,
because no, but I mean in terms of like I've known a lot of comedian couples that have not worked out because of that competition.
yeah, there's like 3 of them that I think work, and we're one of them. And it's good because I love it because she understands the life that it is. Some weekends you'll just be gone because you're on the road, and then you won't see each other, but you cherish the times that you do have together. And I feel like just a civilian wouldn't really understand that.
No, that's fantastic, man. She's a sweetheart.
She is.
You're awesome.
Thank
your
you.
your album, the Bullet Biter, the MC Sessions.
Yep.
That is available
Everywhere.
everywhere.
So it's on
What's
Pandora,
your website? What's your website?
GerritElzinga.com. So,
GerritElzinga.
yep.
ELZINGA.
I looked at your mouth.
What is
I'm
that?
there.
What is that ethnicity?
Dutch.
Is it Dutch?
It's Dutch. Garrett is Dutch. John is English. That's
I was
my middle
I was
name,
thinking
and Elzinga.
black, like out of the gate. That was my first.
That's good.
Would you ever do that ancestry doc, like the swab thing, and like send in your spit to the government so they can go ahead and
I would.
have your stuff on file?
I would, but I don't care. I would do it because that's how a murder was solved. Lots of murders have been solved that way lately because they.
So you
they
would do
track-
that, thinking
They-
that,
yeah.
thinking that you may kill somebody, and you would want to be caught.
It's not for you. Like, I know I haven't yet, but I know that they track your entire family tree up. So if, I got an uncle that did it, well then, he's going down.
And he should.
I know.
Gerrit Elzinga out of Grand Rapids. Funny dude.
Thank
See him
you.
whenever you get a chance. Follow him on social media. And get all your links off of your website.
Website, there's a bunch of icons at the top if you want. Instagram, Facebook. You can just Google Bullet Biter, the MC Sessions. I'll come up.
Bullet Biter. He's amazing. See him, love him.
Thanks,
I
brother.
do. Look at that.
Thanks,
I
brother.
can't
Look at
do
that.
that. You can, and you joke about it. I can't. I hate you.